around the middle of October, the first thing the honeybees do is kick all the male bees out. There are two sexes, obviously, plus the queen. So there's the female worker bee who has underdeveloped sexual organs, and so she generally doesn't lay eggs. There's the male bee called the drone, and they're usually oversized. They don't have a stinger, and their primary function in the hive is to impregnate the queen and eat honey, and then he gets kicked out of the hive in the fall because he takes up too much space and eats too much honey. So to winterize, the bees actually do all of the work. They go to the local pine trees, they take some of the pine pitch, the resin that's on the trees, and they kind of use their mouth parts to soften it up, and they make like this glue caulking around all the openings, just like you would in your house, so that the wind doesn't come in, and they glue the hive shut. And that's why it's very difficult to get into a hive at this time of the year, because if you did that, you'd be cracking open all of their winterizing, and it would make them susceptible to wind and humidity for the winter. If you're familiar with the movie March of the Penguins, there is, in this movie, the way that the penguins get through the winter is they get in one big cluster, and the penguins on the inside of the cluster are obviously warmer than the ones on the outside because the Arctic winds are blowing. And then very slowly they just the inside ones migrate toward the outside, and the outside ones get to migrate toward the inside, so that everybody gets a chance to warm up. Well, the honeybees are very much the same. They stay in clusters within the hive, and the cluster is usually around a place where there's honey, and in the very center of the cluster is the queen, and they keep the queen at 72 degrees all year, all the time. If she were to go below 72 degrees, she couldn't lay viable eggs anymore. So they eat honey, they move their bodies, they fan their wings a little bit just to keep their metabolism at a place where they can keep the queen at 72 degrees. The ones closest to the queen migrate out, and the ones on the outside migrate in order to keep everybody as warm as possible at all times. When there's a warm snap, if there's one warm day where the temperature goes up to 50 and it's sunny, they break cluster. Everybody goes to a different part of the hive to get some new honey, and then when the sun goes down, it gets cold very quickly, and they've broken cluster and they don't have any fellow bees to warm up with, and they are in danger of freezing in the outer parts of the hive, or letting the queen die because she's not kept warm enough.